reason I'm here is not just because I fully support your campaign, but it's also because I've been fighting a much more prolonged battle within India on the same issue. And I'm so glad we'll be making common cause, because what we are doing within India is actually much worse, because we are doing it to the poorest of the poor. My battle on behalf of abducted children and children abducted by the state machinery and put away in most subhuman condition in anath ashrams or children's so-called protective homes began about 5 years ago, and uh, I intend to take it to its logical conclusion. When I saw, not far from here, in fact, on a red light of uh, Firoz Shah Road, police beating up little children and their mothers, and very instinctively, I rushed out of my car to ask the police, if you are performing in a public space, a musical or any other performance, then that comes under Beggary Act. Now the fact is that if you don't have any places, they are too poor to rent Kamani Auditorium. They have to perform perforce in public spaces. So कई सारे इनके बच्चे ऐसे बंद हो रहे. So last 5 years I've been helping families whose children have been taken away. और आप मानेंगे सालों साल लग जाते हैं बेल मिलने में. और जो जैसे बचपन बचाओ आंदोलन जेलार सत्यार्थी, he has been given Nobel Prize for doing this in collaboration with the state authorities, with the police, go snatch kids. And very often, even kids who are just out on a picnic, especially if they happen to be from poor families, I've seen even such kids taken away, locked up in protection homes. And if you are poor, then you can well imagine what it takes for you to release your kid. You have to hire lawyers for which you don't have money. Most of these families are hand to mouth. They can't afford lawyers, and therefore many of them cannot manage to release their kids. But what I am so impressed by is this: however poor these families are, even if it means borrowing money at a high rate of interest, even if it means mortgaging themselves, they will never abandon their kids. That's the kind of close-knit families they have. And it's not just the parents, but the entire extended family, the entire village that will get involved, raise money, find lawyers who of course exploit them because they are uneducated, they don't really know the legal know-how, and yet go on for months or years, sometimes years on end, to get their children released. Now, even when they are released, the adults still have the case under the Anti-Beggary Act. I'm fighting cases on behalf of some families where the parents were booked 4 years ago. The case is still going on. We managed to secure bail, but it's still going on. Now we are going to the High Court and maybe to the Supreme Court with a public interest litigation to say you can't do this to them. Secondly, if they are come, let's say from Chhattisgarh, the government will demand, or these caretaker homes will demand, that these nuts go back to their village and get a certificate from the school that the child is admitted, and also get a certificate from an NGO to certify that the NGO is willing to take charge. Now you can well imagine if these families are moving and they are performing, how are they able to get certificate from this school without bribing? Again, there's bribery. So even false certificate from NGO, and especially if the child is in Bombay or in Delhi, how are they how are they going to manage that? So it's a whole chain of extortion at so many levels that's taking place. And it's happening to the poorest of the poor who really don't even have money to hire lawyers. And even with Manushi helping them, I can tell you it's been years and the cases are still going on. And every time they have to appear in court, they have to come from Chhattisgarh or from some remote village in Bihar or from some remote village in Rajasthan or UP or wherever they are located, take enormous expense, the whole family comes to appear in court, and sometimes the judge is there, sometimes the judge is not there. So you cannot imagine how nightmarish it is. And if they don't appear, there's an arrest warrant, in which case they are finished for life. So what we are doing to our poor in the name of protecting their children from beggary. See, the other thing is, these people are skilled. Why do we think of education only in terms of what can be done on Merega sites? They become cycle rickshaw pullers. So no use of the occupation. So what you're doing is, you are reducing these traditional artists to the level of unskilled, menial laborers at the bottom rungs of your society and economy. It's not a great service to them that you do. And I've seen even families who are keen to educate. See, it's not as if parents don't want to educate their children. That to think that the state knows better than the family is an insult. Nobody is a greater well-wisher of their kids than parents. The government can never substitute for close parenting. And think that the government knows it all, and the police knows better, and these professionally run homes know it better, where these kids are really a way of making more and more money, because the more the kids you abduct, you bring in, the more money you get, the more grants you get. And so therefore it's not the interest of these children. These parents are keen to educate their children, and many have also done so. But the government school system is so shoddy that even after 10वीं pass, I've even seen nut boys who are BA pass, they end up doing unskilled work. So it's not as if there's much waiting for them given the quality of education. But to destroy not only family life, to wreck their very fragile economy even further, to put them under debt, but most importantly, to destroy the art tradition that these communities represent, to not respect it. They could be upgraded, their skills could be upgraded, they could become part of the modern cultural scene in India. Because whenever we have to showcase India's art in festivals of India in Paris or London or New York, we don't just take Bharatanatyam dancers, we invariably take Kalbelias who also come under the Nat community. We will take Saperas who are otherwise banned. We will take these acrobatic communities for their dance performances, very exotic performances that they are able to give, and perform very many magical feats, swallow swords, pull a whole truck with strands of their hair, all kinds of very magical things they're able to do, and they have a glorious history of these arts and lok sanskriti kala jisko kehte hain, having preserved with great effort under great odds. So I'm fully with you. I hope to organize a public hearing, a Jan Sunwai on this very soon, and I hope, even though it is our own state, it's our own government doing these horrific things, but it's a hangover of colonial laws. All these Gumantu Jatis were declared criminal tribes by the British. After independence, we said, okay, they're not criminal tribes, they are denotified tribes. But the attitude has remained the same. And these itinerant communities are surely among the most endangered, the most brutalized. Their children are subjected to the worst kind of treatment when they are taken away, snatched away. And it's very traumatic because for them to stay without families, you know, a lot of us middle class families still send our children to hostels and wherever. So our children are used to being away for long or short periods from their families. But these communities are so well knit that these children break down when forcibly separated. Nobody even understands their language. So kindly, let's make common cause. Not only fight what's happening to Indian families abroad because people don't understand our culture, but also the colonial legacy that we are still saddled with, whereby we treat our own people as a subhuman species if they happen to not be modern educated, not be able to speak in English, not be able to have a certain standard of living. I think it's very important that we change this mindset and get these laws annulled for good. Thank you.